Tameside Radio Sports Talk with Betfred. Visit your local Betfred shop today for a variety of great offers and check out our app for great features like Pick Your Punt Builder. Whenever you bet, Betfred. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Well, hello and welcome. This is Sports Talk with me, Lewis Connell. And as always, for this part of the show, I'm joined by Betfred's Peter Spencer. How are you, Peter?
Great, no problems at all. Looking forward to it, as usual.
Fantastic. Well, we'll get straight into it then. There's only one place to start. England are in action tonight in their final warm-up game before Euro 2024. They're taking on Iceland at Wembley. It should be a comfortable victory, and it'll be a nice way to sort of set up and get some things ready for the tournament.
Yeah, well, Betfred have England 1-9 to win tonight, so we clearly think they're going to win. Iceland are 20-1. They usually put up quite an obstacle, a lot of the Scandinavian teams, and it'll be a good test for England, the way that they're playing of late against one of the tougher Icelandic team. And we are 20-1 for Iceland to win, England 1-9. For the first goal scorer, Harry Kane, he's 12-5. Ivan Toney 11-4. Ollie Watkins 3-1. Cole Palmer, man of the moment, 9-2. Phil Foden 5-1, and Saka is also 5-1 to score the first goal. Very interesting what sort of team he'll put out tonight, because it could be that he puts out his first 11, at least to start. And I suspect he will, because he's got to see how they'll function in our first European tournament game against Serbia. So he'll have to see how that team plays together as a unit. So I suspect he'll start with his first 11, see how the game goes, and then start replacing people like Harry Kane, maybe Cole Palmer as well, Phil Foden, Saka, by their kind of backup players.
Yeah, I think that'd be the best option to go with the 11 that he'd want to start that first game. I think the only one who's not there is Jude Bellingham. I believe he's obviously been celebrating with Real Madrid. He's had a few more days off, so I think he'll be ready for the tournament, but not this game tonight. One big absentee from the squad, which has of course already been announced. It was meant to be announced the day after the match, Saturday morning, but it's been announced earlier. No Harry Maguire, I think, is the big one. That's down to an injury, we're told, and I think he'll be a big miss, especially against physical sides in the earlier rounds of the competition, like Serbia and Slovenia. Teams like that, I think, will probably struggle without his aerial presence.
Yeah, well, basically John Stones' injury away from a crisis at the back. That's the bottom line. I think Harry Maguire adds so much to the team offensively, not necessarily defensively, but offensively. He does get on the end of a lot of corners and free kicks, and sadly that's the way that England score many of the goals from free kicks. So I can imagine that is going to be a big loss. It is a bit unusual or odd that he's decided to leave Maguire at home, but he is going with Luke Shaw. Now, Maguire has played more games than Luke Shaw this season, but I guess they're looking at the types of injury and the level of progress on those various injuries. So he's taking a chance on Luke Shaw, but not a chance on Harry Maguire.
Yeah, I think the reason for that, I did listen to the press conference. I think he said that Maguire probably wouldn't have been available till the knockout rounds, whereas Shaw might be fit for the second game, which is still not ideal, but with the lack of left-backs, I think it's probably a risk that is worth taking. Another absentee is obviously Jack Grealish. Now, I think I for one, am quite surprised with that. There's been a few absentees, that are notable. Obviously, Rashford didn't even make the 33, but I did think that Grealish probably would offer something that Gareth would be after, but he's elected to leave him at home, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think that the way that his season has gone at Manchester City has had a dire effect on his international opportunity. He's probably gone into a team where he thought he would dominate when he moved from Aston Villa for a huge amount of money, 100 million. And so he probably thought, right, I'll go straight into that team and I'll rip it up. but he hasn't really done that. I don't think he quite suits City style of play, i.e. holding it up. When they brought in Haaland, it became much more get the ball to Haaland quickly so that he can get behind the defenders. And that's not necessarily Grealish's style. He holds on to it, forces the error, and then plays a clever pass through. He often holds up the play. And that is great for England because it's a fantastic option late on in the game when they're trying to kill time, keep possession, etc. So, like you, I am a little surprised. I thought he's a little bit different to some of the players that have obviously been put in his place, such as Anthony Gordon, for instance, who's basically a great athlete, similar to Rashford, and Gerard Bowen as well, another player who is in a similar style as that. But I guess he's probably thought, well, we have got players who can play up top, midfielders such as Foden and Saka, maybe even Cole Palmer as well, and he's decided to have two similar players, Ollie Watkins and Ivan Toney, who would back up basically to Harry Kane. I just can't see a way that he'd start with Toney and Watkins in the same team as Harry Kane. So he has got substantial support for Harry Kane, and he left himself a little short at the back, the centre half's unproven. So that's the way I see it. Going into this game, we think that Harry Kane is the clear 12-5 to score the first goal. Ivan Toney 11-4, Watkins 3-1, Cole Palmer 9-2, and then we got Foden and Saka both 5-1. And as I said before, I do think it's going to be a very, very strong England team because it is the last game before the tournament starts.
And with all that being said, how are England's chances looking? I'm sure they will be the favourites for the tournament going into that.
Yeah, Betfred have England 3-1 to win the whole tournament. First time since 1966. How many times will we hear that? France 4-1. I think they've got a very, very good chance. They're 4-1 second favourites. Germany 11-2. Spain and Portugal both 8-1 shots. Betfred have Italy 14-1, and Scotland on a bit of a drift 125-1 to win the tournament outright. To be the top goal scorer in the tournament, well, we've got Mbappe up there 5-1. He's the favourite to be the top goal scorer. Then Harry Kane 11-2. Ronaldo 12-1. Bellingham, surprisingly for me, 14-1, so he's the fourth favourite to be the top scorer in the whole competition. Lukaku is a 16-1 shot with Betfred to be the top goal scorer.
Well, let's hope we can bring it home in 2024. Like you say, it's been a long time coming now. Hopefully we can finally get over the line. But just moving on to another massive event this weekend, Betfred, of course, are obviously proud sponsors of the Challenge Cup. And the final's taking place this Saturday at Wembley, isn't it? Between Wigan and Warrington. Yeah,
rightly, it's going to be overshadowed by the tragic passing of Rob Burrow. So the match starts at 7 minutes past 3. That's in tribute to him wearing the number 7 shirt during his stellar career with Leeds Rhinos and also the Great Britain team. So it's going to be a very, very sad occasion for the rugby league people and the rest of the sporting world paying tribute to Rob Burrow. So Wigan, well, they're odds-on favourites to go on and win this. Warrington 15-8. Wigan to win both halves. Betfred have that the odds on that 2-1, so you can see we do really think it's going to be Wigan's day. It's an interesting one. Matty Ashton to score a try any time and Warrington win. Well, that's 11-2. Harry Smith, great player he is for Wigan. He's 11-2 to be the man of the match. George Williams, he's an excellent player, and when he plays well, the Wire win. He's 5-1 to be the player of the game. Wyre to win by 6 to 10 points. Well, Betfred have that at 15 to 2. And for Wigan to win by 11 to 15 points, that's also 15 to 2.
I'm just looking at the Wigan squad. There's obviously 2 suspensions in there, but one player they do have available is Bevan French. Of course, the man of steel last year, and you'd think he'll be well up for this final going into
Well,
it.
he's certainly a match winner, that's for sure. He's an excellent player, great speed, great thinking to get the breakthrough. I think that it's interesting, the warm-up game last weekend when these two teams, Wigan and Warrington, played each other in Betfred Super League, and Wigan came out just about by 1 point, and I think that Wigan were astounded by the progress and the athleticism of the Wyre team, who had 5 players who all came through the academy, some of whom were making their debut. So it's very, very youthful Warrington team almost beat Wigan. Wigan themselves did rest a few as well, but nothing like as many, and they did have a player sent off. So that put them down and put them under more pressure. But I think they got a bit of a bloodied nose that day.
Yeah, I think that game will give the Wyre a lot of confidence going into the final. One player they'll need to be on the top of his game is Matty Ashton. He's a potential match winner, of course, and I believe it's his first final in a Warrington shirt, so he'll be raring to go.
Yeah, and we do have that special bet, as I mentioned before, Matty Ashton to score the first try, or a try any time actually, and Warrington to win. That's 11 to 2.
Well, get your bets on for that. Hopefully we're in for a fantastic final, and obviously thoughts go out to Rob Burrow and his family as well. I'm sure that'll be a very poignant occasion for everyone involved. But just to finish, we've got 2 stories on 2 separate winners with Betfred this week. First of all, we've got someone who's won £45,000 from just a £10 bet.
Yeah, this guy from the Midlands, he won, as you say, £45,000 from a £10 bet on the Irish lottery. He has regular numbers and some that he just changes at the last minute. He comes from Glasgow, although he lives in the Midlands, as I say. He's going to spend his money on fulfilling a lifetime ambition to go on the Scotland 500, which effectively is a tour round the coast of Scotland. He's going to hire a minibus, and he's going to go on this motorhome trip around the whole of Scotland. So that's one winner. And then another guy, now this chap hasn't won anything like as much. He's won £1,000, but he only bet 10 pence. He won on our own Nifty 50 game, which is, when we first started it, it was aimed at letting people have a tiny, tiny bet, and you can't get much more than 10 pence, and then win a reasonable amount of money, £1,000 in this case. He's a 75-year-old retired college lecturer, and he's basically going to spend most of it on a trip to the Lake District, and that could be quite expensive because I was there last week. I know that's the case.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure they'll enjoy their winnings, and congratulations to them both. And it really does show that Betfred, you can win very big prizes with just a small stake, such as 10 pence. So if you do want to bet on anything that we have discussed today, you can do so online, on the app, or in Betfred stores. And we'll see you at the same time next week. Thank you, Peter.
No problem at all.
Tameside Radio Sports Talk with Betfred. Visit your local Betfred shop today for a variety of great offers, and check out our app for great features like Pick Your Punts Builder. Whenever you bet, Betfred. 18+, begambleaware.org.